Welcome to session 4 of the Promise of Nursing Nurses on Board training, building your board profile through networking and marketing. My name is Marion Spears-Carr and I'll be your facilitator for this section. Now that you've completed the sections with my colleagues Kimberly McNally, where you learned what it means to be a board member, the best practices of effective board members, and the great importance of having individuals with a nurse life experience and positions of influence, it's time to put a plan together to be placed on a board. In this section, we will discuss creating your personal marketing brand, developing your targeted organizations list, connecting and networking for board opportunities, and putting it all together for success. As you follow along, begin visualizing the value and experience that you possess from what I like to call your nurse life experience. It's already equipped you to have the skills and background you need to be an effective board member for the greater good. The nurse life experience you possess is a collection of all of your work, your education, and life experiences you've had that make you a tremendous value to any board on which you serve. Let's begin our discussion with a look at how to create your personal marketing brand and why it's a critical aspect of getting engaged. In 2013, when we started this journey of encouraging nursing professionals to leverage their influence through effective board governance, it became quickly apparent to me that many organizations who could benefit from having someone with a nursing background on its board did not grasp the value of your profession and what it could deliver. It was imperative that we needed to create a strategy to reframe how those without a nurse life experience saw you through a different lens. Changing this perspective begins with your brand. John Ford, the 4-time Academy Award winner for Best Picture of such famous movies as The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and Stagecoach, one of my all-time favorite movies, was once quoted as saying, "You can speak well if your tongue can deliver the message of your heart." As we look at your involvement as a board member, being able to speak the message of your heart, that of your passion, your personal mission and values, will set you apart and help those responsible for board inclusion to begin to see you in that role. Over my career as an executive recruiter and executive coach, one of my passions has been helping my candidates and clients grasp the depth of the value they bring to the table from the perspective of why it matters to the organization in which they serve and to themselves in that service. The focus of why it matters came from an exchange I had with a CEO in 1995 who challenged me to find candidates for a COO position who could explain why their hospital was better because they were there. There seemed to be this disconnect between the role individuals played and their ability to articulate why it mattered. As you begin to ponder your board involvement, the two critical questions that need to remain paramount in your mind are the following. Why will the organization be better because you are on its board? And the second question, why will you be better for serving on that organization's board? These foundational questions, when thoroughly explored by you, provide not only the framework for telling your story in an impactful way, but also will help you discern if the organization you hope to serve is the right one for you. Take the time to write down these questions and refer to them often throughout this journey. With your why as a focal point, the next step is to begin the creation of a master capabilities list. The list of capabilities you already possess that have positioned you to be impactful trustee of any organization in which you choose to serve. First, let's look at the unique aspect of the nurse life experience. As a member of the perennial most trusted profession according to Gallup, consider the various skills and capabilities you have developed that could translate into your work as a board member. In past live cohort nurse on board training conducted across the country, some of the nurse life experience capabilities discussed include the ability to be detail-oriented, see the big picture, assess the impact of decisions on outcomes, and use quality metrics effectively. In thinking about your career as a nurse and the various settings in which you have worked, what are some other capabilities you've developed that are unique to your profession and specific experience? Next, we need to recognize how these capabilities represent transferable skill sets and what could be their value in the boardroom. As you learned in the previous sessions with Kimberly regarding the role you will play as a board member, think about how your list of capabilities translate into that boardroom. For example, the ability to be detail-oriented in the planning and execution of caring for a patient positions you well in discerning every aspect of how an organization may craft a plan for its CEO evaluation process. Your detail orientation lends itself to you being highly thorough and thoughtful in such an activity. Combined with the ability to be empathetic and caring, your value in this endeavor is greatly enhanced. Board of directors need what you bring to the table. Write down other capabilities you possess and how they may translate and why it would matter. Your capabilities list represent what you can do. It is also essential to create a list of what you have done. This is your accomplishment list. These elements become the foundation for telling your story. In looking at your capabilities, what are some examples of past career or personal accomplishments that help you tell your story as to why you could be a valuable board member? For example, if you've had success in managing complex budgets for your nursing units, divisions, or departments as a member of the finance committee of a board, your understanding of the complexity of the budgeting process would be in demand. Your accomplishment experiences, therefore, become your currency of influence. Here's what I've done and accomplished, and as a member of your board, I can leverage such experience to contribute positively. With your foundational elements of capabilities and accomplishments, you're now ready to craft your story. This is your value proposition. As I developed as an executive recruiter, one of the areas I became fascinated with was helping candidates interview in a compelling and convincing way. Much has been written on behavioral-based interviews, but little attention has been placed on a framework on how best to articulate one's value. In trying to improve not only how I sold my services, but also helping my candidates interview better, I developed a word formula, if you will, called the value proposition construct. It is a simple but effective way to connect what you can or have done to the part that ties it all together, why it matters. It consists of 4 elements. The first one is, what is the problem your organization needs to solve? Second, what ideas, capabilities, solutions could someone with your unique experience bring to these efforts? The third element is, what results do you expect from your engagement? And the fourth, and this is the most important, why will it matter to the organization, ultimately the people it serves? Here's how you put this framework into action. Think about an organization in which you would like to serve. First, what are some of the unique problems it may face? For example, if it's your local nonprofit food bank, one of the areas it could be struggling is putting together a strategy for providing healthy nutritional options for the people it serve. Second, what ideas or capabilities or solutions could someone with your unique experience bring to that effort? As a board member who has nurse life experience, your understanding of the relationship between proper nutrition and health is highly valuable. You may have connections to nutritionists and dietary specialists or have that skill set in your background. Who could you bring to the table to help create such a strategy? Third, it is crucial to define what you expect from your engagement. What do you believe could be the result of your efforts? Using the food bank scenario, one of the results could be that there is the creation of a strategy to provide food for those with severe dietary restrictions, such as diabetics, which we understand through various healthcare reporting agencies often have a higher incidence within lower income populations. Fourth, we must tie all this together, but clearly explaining why it matters. We consciously or subconsciously believe that when we give results, the why it matters is self-evident. That is often not the case. Taking the time to explain how we see the why makes our story far more compelling and impactful. The audience sees the results through your eyes. Within the food bank example, the why it matters is simple. The people we are serving will be much healthier if we can provide specific and targeted nutrition that meets their needs. Practice using the value proposition construct with your colleagues, team at work, or other contacts. Define a problem you solved, what you did to solve the problem, what were the results, and tie it all together with the why it mattered. Up until this point, we have looked at the value you bring to the table and how to create a value proposition. It is time to discuss finding organizations in which to serve. There are 3 steps you can take to launch the process of finding a board on which to serve. They include starting local, researching organizations to serve, and creating a contact list. Let's look at each of these steps. In Section 5, we will discuss in more detail the various resources that are available to connect with organizations both regionally and nationally. But now let's consider starting local. As an aspiring board member, one of the best ways to engage is to seek opportunities in your own backyard. Even in rural communities, there are several nonprofits, quasi-governmental organizations, or public entities that have governing bodies that could use your input and influence. For example, in the state of Georgia, where I now call home, Each county has a public health board that it's mandated to have a nurse on that board. As simple as that may sound, many of those counties in my state struggle in having that mandate met. Make a list of any organization locally that could potentially have board opportunities. Some other examples could be your local hospice association, diabetes foundation, cancer care organization, or your Boys and Girls Club. Think about what you are passionate about. I suspect that there are organizations out there that support that passion and could use your leadership. The next step is to broaden our target by researching organizations to serve. There's a wealth of resources in this area, but one of the easiest and best is but a click away. One of the most significant advantages we have at our disposal for research is GuideStar.org. This website provides a list of all nonprofit organizations and can be narrowed down by state or city. From here, you can create a list of many of the nonprofits that could be potential targets. One of the best and most apparent free resources available is to Google it. In a Google search browser, type in nonprofit board positions plus your location. A search I did recently with this thread for the state of Georgia returned over 100 results of potential volunteer board member opportunities. Once you have a list of potential targeted organizations, the next step in the process is the creation of a contacts list. This list should not be limited to only people you know but from your work life or personal life, but should also include people you may not know but can connect to in a variety of ways. Two excellent resources for creating your list are LinkedIn and Facebook. Many people relegate LinkedIn to job hunting, but it's one of the best places to look for contacts with board experience with which you can network. In the job search function, there are often board positions posted as well. Just within your own network, you may find that many of your contacts list board service in their info. I realize Facebook has several things we all want to avoid, but within our circle of Facebook contacts, there are bound to be people that engage in board service. A simple search of the phrase board member in the search box will deliver a string of references to people, organizations, and news that can be helpful in your contact list development. Once we have our list of potential contacts, it's time to reach out and make connections. In Brené Brown's best-selling book, Dare to Lead, one of my favorite quotes is that courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. When you think about being board aspiring, it takes courage to put yourself out there for consideration. As Dr. Brown put it, that starts with showing up and letting organizations know you are there. One of the best ways to show up is through volunteering at that organization which you hope to one day sit on its board. By volunteering for opportunities to help support the group's mission, you accomplish three objectives. First, you make yourself known to those people in that group as someone passionate about their cause. Second, it gives you the opportunity to evaluate if the organization is one in which you ultimately would like to serve at the board level. And third, it affords you valuable experience and insight on where you can make the most significant impact. Examples of volunteer opportunities are board committees, fundraising events and campaigns, community service projects, and community events. Research and find out who the executive director, board chair, or board member is and let them know about your interest in serving. In our Nurses on Board training over the last several years, we've seen a number of success stories with this approach. Another excellent way to get connected with people who are on boards is through local business and networking groups. Many of the participants of organizations like Rotary, Toastmasters, Civitan, and similar associations are often board members of various community groups as well. By connecting with them and making your board aspirations known, you will have a higher probability of joining a board in the future. Don't limit yourself simply to nursing-specific or healthcare-specific groups. We need nurses serving on all types of boards of organizations that serve people. Ultimately, making personal contact with as many people as possible have the best probability of getting you connected to the right decision makers. Reach out and communicate with the contacts you develop in your list and keep your message simple, requesting their assistance and advice regarding board service. If they have board experience themselves, ask how they found a board position. You may find that you can replicate their approach. Remember to include the why in your discussions. When you bring others into your why, it creates a better opportunity for them to see you in the role. Also, remember, as you connect with the decision makers, the gatekeepers to that board seat you desire, to practice your value proposition construct. In closing, let's review and put it all together. Remember to create your value proposition or your elevator speech centered on the value you bring to the board experience and the why. You need to develop a list of contacts and organizations for your board aspiration. You need to inform your network and contact list of your board interests, and set a goal of 5 new contacts each week. Finally, when you've joined a board, make sure you are counted. Go to nursesonboardcoalition.org and be one of the thousands of nurses who are making a difference through board governance. With your help, we can reach the goal of 10,000 nurses on board by the year 2020. Thank you.